The Beach FM Business Lunch Show, brought to you by PlaceMakers Kapiti Horowhenua. Together we're building New Zealand.
Welcome back to the Business Lunch Show on Beach FM 106.3 with Damian, and let's talk real estate now. And let's welcome back to the show from Double Winkel Real Estate, it's Eddie Winkel. G'day, Eddie.
Morning.
We caught up in a few weeks ago, mate, the first week of the show. How's everything been going for you since?
Okay, well, in a nutshell, since we've been stuck at home, effectively that's what's happened.
Yep.
Not a lot's happened, really. Level 3 has been a little bit more generous to most of the real estate agents. There's been a few listings, and there have been some viewings. So under Level 3, the viewings that we're allowed is 2 viewings per property per day,
right,
and no more than 2 people per party, and they have to be in the same bubble. So reasonably restrictive, but a bit like the old days before things like open homes were around, so easy to manage. And it's probably, I'd say, talking to some of the staff, quite enjoyable, actually having that sort of control without lots and lots of people flooding through the house like we had prior to COVID.
Absolutely. And what kind of restrictions has come with that? I know you said the bubble, etc., but I mean, with 2 a day, is there a onus on cleaning the properties after everyone leaves? Or
the normal rules apply that have been around for a while. You've got to sanitise, clean benches down, clean the doorknobs. And in theory, what we've been able to do is meet at the house, or the agent gets to the house early and opens all the doors and the cupboards and everything that you would expect people wanting to have a look in.
Of course.
So then they don't touch. So and we do have masks and gloves and sanitizer at the house. Some people have elected not to wear the mask, which is not compulsory anyhow, but it's there if it's an option.
Wow. Okay. And we've seen a lot of businesses around adapting to technology, online presence with videos, etc. Is that something that you guys are using more?
Well, more. I don't know if it's more, but we've always been at the forefront, I think, in terms of videos, 3D imaging, all that sort of stuff. And so what we're seeing now is there's a lot more interaction on the websites with the properties that are featuring some of the latest technology. So it all helps to paint a picture and get people interested in what's available for sale. But there is I think there is a feeling out there that maybe the market is going to have a correction in terms of price, and so there have been 1 or 2 people that have sort of made offers which are quite a bit lower than we were expecting. But there's no sign at this point that we're going to see a massive correction, but there might be a little bit of a correction.
Okay, so that leads on to my next question. The confidence out there, are people already thinking prices are going to drop?
Look, I think some are, and some are holding back. I think the first home buyer is in quite a unique position, and investors are also just sort of showing a little bit of interest. But with the BR ratio being dropped, the banks do appear to have still a reasonable amount of money. KiwiSaver's taken a bit of a knock. But I think all in all, the first home buyers now in a slightly better position than they might have been before COVID.
Absolutely. Yeah, well, I was just about to ask about that one as well, because we have seen major changes to the lending. What kind of things do people need to be aware of? Well,
look, they're just going to go well prepared. I mean, the interest rates today, I understand 2 banks have lowered their interest rate under 3% today. So, very, very competitive lending and very affordable in terms of borrowing money. For a first home buyer, nothing's really changed, though, in terms of they've got to do a little bit of due diligence. Builder's report is probably what most banks are asking for. So they've just got to go there with their eyes open and make sure that they are in a position that they can buy and make an offer, but make sure they do their due diligence on the way through.
Absolutely. Kiwis are a culture of either having the batch house or an investment property or something. Are we going to see a dip in those kind of purchases in the near future?
Well, look, that would depend on unemployment rate, and everyone's doom and gloom when it comes to that. They're talking over 10%, but so generally, what's happened is those that have survived and have still got good businesses and good incomes, they just carry on. They're probably a little bit more cautious for the first 6 months. They want to see what's going to happen, how their business is affected, and then they'll get on with life. And, you're probably saying 12 months' time we're having this conversation and we'll remember COVID and we'll remember it well because of what's taken place, but there'll be some back to some normality and it'll be something, hopefully, something in the past that we will hopefully never have again.
Here. Hey, what are some of the questions that are people asking out there in regards to their confidence levels?
Well, look, most of those people that are looking are reasonably confident and have still got jobs. Right. So most of those that we're dealing with currently, they know what the rules are. They're out here looking at houses. They're genuinely interested in buying something, and I think that's made a big difference to the market. So whereas in the past we would have a whole lot of people looking to see what was out there and get a bit of an indication of what they could buy for their money or what their houses are worth, they're not prevalent now because of the restrictions with the amount of people who can view a house on a day.
We're going to see construction probably ramp up because it probably might be one of the industries that is a bit more free-flowing. Will we see a lot of people hanging on to their houses maybe and doing it up instead of, flicking it off for someone to do up there, get a door upper?
Well, I think a bit of that's already happened. The base level of listings on the Kapiti Coast and Horowhenua is the lowest it's ever been, and it hasn't bounced back that much. I mean, there's a few new listings that have popped up over the last few weeks, but nothing like the old days. I was talking to another real estate agent with the opposition not long ago, and we were talking about 2008, and I think we remembered that there was over 1,000 properties for sale on the Kapiti Coast at any given one time through the GFC, and now we've only got a few hundred for sale. So and that changes, and more listings come on, then it's a buyer's market. If it carries on the way it is, I think we're just going to we're going to see it being still a seller's market. To answer your question in a roundabout way, we're going to see some houses where people spend some money? I think we're already seeing that. People are saying it's too hard. There's nothing there for sale. We don't want to sell a house until we've got somewhere to go. So I think the kitchen joinery shops and those sort of guys have been doing a roaring trade.
Yeah, definitely. Hey, mate, what does level 2 look like for you guys?
Well, actually, level 2 is just about same as what we did before we got to that.
Okay.
So no restrictions on open homes. Maximum people, 100 people through it at a house at any given one time. Well, that doesn't really apply to us in most cases. We can conduct an auction on site as long as it's outside. We still have to do the sanitising and social distancing and that sort of stuff. But really, other than that, we're back to square one.
Yeah. And lastly, sorry to ask this the confidence question again, but do you think we're going to see a change as the level drops?
Look, it's hard to know. I think I don't think real estate's the only product or service organisation out there that's going to be affected with a little bit of lack of confidence.
Right.
We're going to see what's going to happen to the retail sector and to the bars and restaurants, and we've got some really good bars and restaurants on the Kapiti Coast, and I think we all sort of we all work together, and I think if some of these other places don't reopen or do struggle, then it has a bit of an impact on employment, doesn't it? And casual employment and that sort of stuff. So look, it's hard to know. We've sort of taken an attitude that, we're on the Kapiti Coast. We're really lucky. We've got Transmission Gully. Admittedly, it's taking a bit longer to build now than we thought, but all those things are working in our favour. So, all things being equal, we may not see the confidence come out of our market. And the other thing is, of course, we're in Wellington. And, we've got government departments and we've got probably fuller employment long term than other parts of New Zealand.
Excellent. Hey, and Eddie, just lastly, any last words of advice to people out there sitting on their rocking chair, just wondering, if they should sit or continue with the confidence that we've always had in real estate?
Look, I've been doing this, I think I told you last time, over 40 years, and I can only say this sincerely. If you want to buy a house, go and buy one.
Absolutely.
Don't sit there and think, I'll wait for the prices to drop, because you won't be the only one. And when it does drop, someone else might beat you to it. So, investors are a little bit different. They're looking for a return and making different decisions. But if you're genuinely out there wanting to buy a family home, then go and buy a family home.
Absolutely. We're always going to need a roof over our heads. Eddie, lastly, where can the people find you? How can they get in touch?
Oh, well, they can find me anywhere from Tawa through to Levin. We've got 7 offices dotted all the way through there. So they can go to our website, which is www.dwre.co.nz or professionals.co.nz, and you can see where we are.
Outstanding. Thank you so much for your time today, Eddie Winkel from Double Winkel Real Estate. Always a pleasure, my man. We'll catch up in a few weeks.
Okay, thanks, Damian. Have a good day.